should be something number 4 tonight is, how is this a patriarchal world? How is this woman not doing 20 years? By the way, if you in the chat, if you enjoyed that last prompt, give me a fire emoji in the chat. Let's make it colorful. Let's make people understand that we enjoy the conversations, even though we had to cut that one a little bit short. Well, not even short, but we had to cut that one. Right?
Investigation. A 31-year-old woman who admits to having sex with a 30-year-old boy and then becoming pregnant with his child won't face any jail time under a plea deal with prosecutors.
11 Call for Action investigative reporter Matt Kroschel is joining us live tonight. Matt, 31-year-old Andrea Serrano was facing sexual assault charges, but accepted this new plea deal to stay out of prison.
Adam, Serrano gave birth to a baby boy. She admitted to having sex with that 13-year-old. The victim's mother, who we're not going to identify in this story, tells us she is not happy with this deal offered to a woman she says ruined her son's life.
I feel like my son's robbed of his childhood. Now he's having to be a father. He's a victim, and he's going to have to live with that for the rest of his life.
This mother says watching her son struggle with the reality he now faces breaks her heart.
What has this been like for your son?
It's caused him a lot of depression. He's shut down a lot.
Now she questions why this woman won't face prison time.
I feel like if she was a man and he was a little girl, it would definitely be different. They would be seeking incarceration. And I feel like because she's a woman, they're not. They're having compassion for her because she was pregnant. But I don't think they take into play, again, she was pregnant by a child. You know, that child was created from a sexual abuse.
Under terms of the plea deal the suspect signed off on, she'll be required to register as a sex offender, and the judge could sentence her to 10 years to life of sex offender intensive supervised probation. But Serrano will avoid any jail time since the DA's office dropped the original charges to a lesser charge that does not come with mandatory jail time.
What should other parents be looking for?
Don't trust anybody, honestly. I mean, you can't trust anybody now.
The victim's family says they are looking for the next steps in this case, and they'll actually ask the courts to give custody to the 13-year-old of this baby. Adam and Lindsay, what we do know is that Serrano has a hearing coming up in May where she will learn how much probation time she'll have. Currently, Serrano has full custody of the baby. Back to you.
Okay, we'll follow up on that case. Matt, thank you.
A shooting in Pueblo is now under investigation.
Yeah. In the chat, Gassam said 13 years old and paying child support till he's 31. This guy's a legend. Earlier he said, 13 years old, he got that potent seed. Then he said 13 years old and paying child support till he's 31. This guy is a legend. That's crazy. Lero says delete or de-live those that harm children. Gas earlier said women's sex or sexuality is not a threat. So that's that. Lero says eradicate all chimos. And I got a few fire emojis. Shout out to Derico Cooper Photography, by the way, for your donation this week. Real Black Gentleman. Shout out to Marcus McGee, who's usually in the chat. I didn't see him tonight. And I did see Daily Affirmations by Pauline popped in. So shout out to her as well for coming through. This is Should Be topic number 4. How is this a patriarchal world? How is this woman not doing 20 years? Let me see who I'll start with. Let me start with Kid Boy on this one. Kid Boy, what say you? Kid Boy, you're muted if you're there. If not, let's go to Carl. Carl, what say you?
So, wow. Now, I remember reading about this story on another YouTube page, The Lead Attorney, and he was talking about this woman not getting, any jail time. This is Mary Kay Letourneau all over again. Mary Kay Letourneau, she was a white woman who had a baby from a young man who was underage, and she got 10 years in prison. She got out of prison and actually married the child that she molested. He was an adult at this time. So, this is just a rebranding of the Mary Kay Letourneau situation. But just looking at this situation, I don't think, a patriarchy, you know, is basically a rule by men. But most men aren't patriarchs. You know, most you have a small subsection of men that are patriarchs. And I think part of it is that men, as men, we don't really see women as a threat. We don't really, we can't really conceptualize women being threatening. You know, most women are smaller than men. Most men are, you know, stronger than women. You know, we have a situation where a man who is getting abused by a woman, people laugh at that man. So I think as a society, we have a problem conceptualizing that women are human and they can do, they're capable of all the evil and all the hateful things that men are. But, you know, most of us, you know, we have women in our life that we love and we cherish, and, you know, we don't really look at it like that. So I'm looking at it from my perspective. You know, this woman, this is a child she molested, but even in some cases, the very idea that a male can be raped is not possible. They define rape as penetration. Women can't penetrate. So therefore, a woman legally cannot rape a man. I don't necessarily agree with that. But I think that in this situation here, this woman, she's being protected because she is a mother, she's pregnant, but they're not looking at the victim. And this is, we all know if this was, you know, we reverse the genders, you know, this would not even be a question. This dude would be doing some serious time. He'd be doing some football numbers in prison. But because we don't conceptualize women as being threatening, we don't see women as a danger. That this is allowed to go on. They're probably looking at, okay, who's going to raise this child? You know, they're having mercy. She's pregnant. So it's a sad situation, and you know, I'm really feel for this young man who's been taken advantage of. When I listened to the story with the lead attorney, apparently this woman was almost, he lived with her, and she was a mother figure to him in a way. So he looked up to her as like almost like a surrogate parent. So she definitely, it wasn't some chick in the street he met. You know, this is somebody who he cared for, who he trusted, and she took advantage of him. And I know what it was like when I was a 13-year-old boy. You know, I know how I was like. And there's still no excuse for this child to be, you had sex with this boy, you got pregnant, and now you having his baby, and now he's going to be stuck with that for the rest of his life. So I think I don't agree with the court's decision on this. Issa married Kayla Turno's situation. She got 10 years. This woman got nothing. And this child was younger than that Filipino boy, that Asian boy she messed with. So she got nothing. You know, this judge, I'm kind of looking at him sideways on his ruling, because I agree with his mother. You took advantage of a child, and you know, you had your fun, and you get to keep the baby. Nah, that's not cool. You know, if I would appeal that ruling, whoever the lawyer is to appeal that. All right, so that's just my thoughts on it. I'll go ahead and let the next person come up.
I appreciate it, Carl. Is Kibwe back? No, is Jose there? Jose, let me know if you're still there. Kibwe, I'll make some room for someone else.
I'm here. I'm here.
Jose, what say you to this?
Yeah. I don't understand it, you know. In other cases, they would have taken the child from her and just put her in jail. I don't know what's happening here. You know, I don't understand why pity, because she's pregnant, she can go to jail. Other people, they take their child and put them in jail. You know, I mean, she committed the crime, and you know, I disagree about the men cannot be raped. I believe men can be raped. So yeah, I'm just disappointed again.
Yeah, I think Kyle was just demonstrating that the legal definition that men can be penetrated, allegedly, by women, and so they can't rape men. But I agree with you. The idea that a woman can't rape a man is nonsensical. Kibwe came back. Thank you for that, Jose. Kibwe, what say you? Kidway, you're kind of slowing it up now. What's going on, Kidway? All right, let's go to Ben Uko. Ben, what say you?
Yes. Okay. Let's soak this in. Let's soak this in. Number one, where is the death penalty here? There's no way I wouldn't, not even done 20 years. They gotta be a death penalty. You hurt that child. You hurt some child. That's a child. You impregnated that child. There's no way I will let you walk. You gotta be a sickened person, male or female. No way. You pregnant a child, you deserve the death penalty. I don't care, because that's child abuse, and that baby has to be aborted. No way. No way. I couldn't.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Ben.
Yes.
Let's hear from Carl. By the way, Lero says she likes your voice, so there's that. I tried with Kidway.
Holla.
Lero, you heard it. Let me go to Real Black Gentleman.
Hey yo. Yeah, it's sick. It's a woman, you know what I'm saying? Predatory, definitely this is using her faculties to try to get over on a situation. She got over on that 13-year-old boy. I mean, as far as, like, you know what I'm saying, development of people, I mean, I get it why, you know what I'm saying, 18 is, you know what I'm saying, you old enough, anything before that is just, the shit ain't right. You know what I'm saying? You don't mess with shit that ain't timely. But even then, like, this is why, you know what I'm saying, it's disgusting. Like, she should definitely, oh yeah, she needs to be punished. You cannot have women who do that. It's not supposed to be. This is where it's like, I agree with equal across the board, where it's like, and just on any level, you do not sit up here and predate and, like, try to elicit a weak and, like, half-baked consent from minors at all. You don't do that. She don't do that. He don't do that. We're not tolerating, you know what I'm saying, this with the babies. You know what I'm saying? That's all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even one to sit up here and, like, be like, you know, rehabilitation. You know, it's kind of hard to, like, get into these kind of things. Like, these actions become irreversible. You know what I'm saying? That kind of, I mean, young people with our hormones, we are subject to a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? In a lot of ways, it would be better if, like, he was 13 and she was, like, I don't know, 14, because they would both be minors. And you can kind of understand it. I would still, like, say, keep the baby as long as, you know what I'm saying, life is life and life is life. You know what I'm saying? But you honestly, to even prevent all that, you want to make sure that even children, you know what I'm saying, are, like, at least, you know what I'm saying, as young people, aren't even, like, led towards, like, sexual behavior, you know what I'm saying, until they're late teens, honestly. You know what I'm saying? You kind of want, it's just the nature of human development. You know what I'm saying? There's a window of these things, you know what I'm saying, humanity. You don't want to wait too long, but you don't want to start too early. You know what I'm saying? That's just the nature of life. Things are going to be inevitable, but as young people, that's the whole idea of innocence, is for them to not even be bothered with like, you know what I'm saying, the hormones, especially right out of puberty, are real harsh. You know what I'm saying? You don't want them just to act on that. You know what I'm saying? This whole, like, you know, mental and cranial development, you know what I'm saying? Like, people don't really develop their minds, their actual brains don't really develop until, like, they're 25. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's one of those things where it's like, always think about that. You know, we don't want to get, this is not like, you know what I'm saying, the old times or anything like that. Even then, you don't want to, I mean, I get the idea of fertility, but there's always a way. You want to let children grow up before they start getting into any kind of sexual activity, because, I mean, with women, it's just they're not developed. Their bodies haven't developed yet. You know what I'm saying? That's why you want to put that off. with men, it's just like they have not matured. I mean, you can be like in like older days, you can be 15 and be a soldier, but it's just that dichotomy. Like, let's slow it down. It's not that serious yet. You don't want to like facilitate, you know, hastening of these kind of things. So like, she should definitely be punished. Send a message to, you know what I'm saying, people out there, you know what I'm saying, just that's messed up. And you shouldn't abort the baby. You know what I'm saying? That's life. We don't want to, you know what I'm saying, make two wrongs here. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as like, you know, I would say it has to be given up for adoption, or perhaps someone of the family can take care of it. But like that boy has no decision in that child's life until he's 18 or at least 17 or something like that. This is not what you need these young people to be doing. He's 13. He's not old enough to be a father. You know what I'm saying? In no kind of capacity. I'm gonna go ahead and yield.
I appreciate that, Real Black Gentleman. Yeah, pro-black perspective. I don't know if this is necessarily a black story. This might be Latino. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. In fact, let's go to Oni right now. Oni, what say you?
Oh yeah. So I don't know. I thought we saw the back of the lady's head, the mother's head, and it looked like no.
The mom of the son. Yeah, she looks like some other.
Yeah, some like yeah, and then the whatever. Yeah, I mean, like when it comes down to it, I mean, obviously this lady did wrong, obviously. But when it comes down to why somebody doesn't receive a certain amount of years or something, they might just have a better lawyer, you know? Like, because it seems like she got a really good deal. And then, you know, kind of a joke, but like, how do we know the judge wasn't Muslim, right? Yeah, I'm just messing. But anyway, who did that? But anyway, yeah, but like,
others will catch up. Let us simmer a bit. But go ahead.
Yeah, but anyway, but like that's another thing that we have to realize too, that like culturally there is that. Like obviously for us, we're like, ew, 13. But like a lot of older civilizations or a lot of older customs would be like 13 is old. Now, obviously 31 and 13 is weird. But like I said, you know, in Islam, that was like a thing. But notwithstanding, I mean, like I said, I really just think maybe she had a really good lawyer. I don't know why she, like, I mean, that's probably like what it is ultimately. At first, when the story was coming around, I was like, maybe she's good looking. She's not. Because, you know, a lot of people, you know, pretty privilege is a thing, you know. She's not good looking, but, you know, that's it. And I mean, it's kind of interesting the family wanted to get the boy to have custody of the child. But I mean, I think that's another part of it too, is that sometimes, like, if you're a mother, like I said, like realistically, you can like somebody, like for instance, me, let's say, if I were to shoot somebody in the face and I had a good lawyer, right, and I just shot him in the face for nothing, pretty much, right, and I had a good lawyer, and they didn't have a good lawyer, right, I could get away with it. And like that's just
big African lips.
You said what? Wait, pause. All right.
No, with those big. No, those big African lips.
Pause, but
that yellowish brown skin of yours.
Yellow shit, right? Yeah, but anyway, but like, no, I'm just saying, like, generally, like in America, like you can get away with quite a few, like yeah, like if you, I don't even know, like she could have possibly had like the support of the community or some shit. I don't know why, but you know, it is what it is. I'm not, but yeah, I think obviously what she did was awful. But that's the thing I wanted to say. I used to be so fearful of pedophiles in America. I'm still fearful, but I was like way more fearful before I left the country. But like, yeah, that's one of the things about, because if y'all are saying that this was like his babysitter or his nanny or some shit, and the thing is, that's what's weird about it is that, you know, when I hear that, you know, could be his babysitter nanny, that's actually something that I heard happens in Africa. I didn't see it personally. I heard it happen some places in Africa where you might have the quote unquote house girl who's a lot of young men's first introduction to women is the house girl, which is wrong on both sides. Obviously, this woman's a grown ass woman, so it's even worse. But like, that's just a situation that happens with people. And that's why you know, what the mother says at the end, which is you can't trust anybody with your kid, like that's a thing. You know, I would invest in a surveillance system. I would invest in having my child be open about, like, communicating with my child about, do not let somebody touch you. Do not touch somebody. And if somebody touches you or you touch somebody, you tell me right away. And this is actually a good case study into saying, look, there are consequences to coochie. You know what I mean? There's consequences to coochie. I'm not saying this boy wanted to have sex with this woman. I mean, maybe he did, but obviously he's too young to really understand, you know, what you want versus what you don't want. But this is clearly why you do not have sex with just about anybody, because, you know, if you're not an adult, you don't know how to not impregnate the person, and now you don't know how to not get a disease, and now you're messing up. Because that's another thing that we have to process here, is that this woman's not just having sex with a minor. This minor is not even wearing protection, you know?
Yeah, that's
yeah. So this is an old ass woman, right, having sex with a minor and not even trying to protect them. Now, granted, she could be like, hey, I'm safe and you're safe. You're clean and I'm clean. But again, this is a minor, and like, he's not even like, you know what I mean? Like, he can't even like control his ejaculation yet. It's really like an abuse of the child. And I mean, like I said, I don't know how she got away with it, but, you know, like, yeah, I mean, again, like, that's another thing that you take seriously, is that even if you feel like your case is like a win, like you can't lose, do not go to court without a good lawyer. Like, do not. Like, my brother did that. He went to court without a good lawyer and he got screwed. Like, just generally speaking, do not go to, like, if you're, one thing you should have friends, like, you should make a friend right now who's a lawyer, because you're going to need a lawyer at some, like, if you ever need a lawyer at some point, you need that lawyer, you know?
Let's hear from Buana. Buana,
Yeah.
how is this a patriarchal world? How is this woman not doing 20 years?
In certain elements, you know, the world is very patriarchal. In terms of the law, the law tends to favor women. I mean, that's just what it is, you know, because when you look at any corporation up and down in the United States of America, they are primarily run and then controlled by white men. So, I mean, you know, when you're talking about money and things of that nature, that's the white guys got that on lock, unfortunately. But that'll change. When you talk about in terms of the law itself, and how the law is applied when it's, you know, between men and women, the law is applied more in the favor of women. I would say that. But I have to look at the facts of this case, because I don't know how this particular lady got around the statutory rape. I mean, even if you have the best lawyers in the world, and even if that 13-year-old give consent, because 13-year-olds can't give consent under the law. They cannot give consent. So I don't know how the courts would have managed to get around the whole statutory rape thing. I don't know in prosecuting this lady. You know, so that is a question in my mind. So, like I said, I would have to look at the facts of this case in terms of men being not being able to be raped. Now, men can be raped. Men can be raped. And so, how is that possible? Well, you know, a woman could tie down a man. You know, man fall asleep, and she could penetrate him with her fingers. You know, or he could.
Don't be describing no.
Sorry.
No,
that's somebody else. Or she could use dildos, or she could use many things to get her sexual jollies off. So I mean, it's possible for a woman to penetrate a man now, you know, so without his consent, you know, so that is a possibility. So, and a woman can be charged for raping a man, and I'm sure that's happened before. But in terms of this,
you speaking from experience, bro?
No, I speak it. Uni, why you messing with me tonight, man? You know what I mean? I just get up. Anyways, what I'm saying is I have to see the facts of this case and how she got around the whole statutory rape thing. I don't know how in the world she did that. Like I said, I have to see the facts to really determine how she would have gotten around that. But I not even got into any kind of years. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I'll just leave it there until I read up more on in terms of what happened. So I'll stop there.
So I was waiting for this. Let's get a woman's perspective on this. Let's see if it differs from anything that was said before. Tanzan, what say you?
I say, this is what you get in a society that prioritizes, when the Titanic was sinking, who are the first people to go? Women and children. Women first, or women equals children. So in a society that puts women on the same level as children, they don't look at it as this woman took advantage of a child. They just look at it like, oh, the child got a favor done. And this is not just the women. This is not about patriarchy, because I would say that this is a man's world. It's not a boy's world. So in that sense, when you're a boy and you get if you're let's say you're a young man and you get sent to a man's prison, you'll quickly learn, that there's different rules to be followed here. So, even men have no sympathy for the boys. This is why there's the rite of initiation, where for a woman, you are supposed to know how to conduct yourself. These women are still children. They did not get to be, women, because they did not go through the rites of womanhood. This is a childish woman, but it's a child with the power to destroy, somebody else's life, which is a child's, life. I don't find anything funny about it. I don't think that there's anything like, and this is something that men have also cooperated in. Yeah. People will say that, yes, women don't have sympathy. And it's saddening also that women do not have sympathy for this child. Like they just say, oh, things went on and so on. But the men have also participated in the downfall of the boys, because look at what Oni was saying, like, oh yeah, this, and people are making fun of him and so on. But, this is a child. A child is not, it does not have the same capacity as a boy. And it's not just that. When people have even that Letono people react very differently when it's a boy being, violated versus it's a girl. Nobody would ever make fun of, a little girl being violated, even if she said, oh, yeah, nobody's telling her, oh, you got a favor done by you, oh, you should be happy. Yeah, it's a sad thing that people don't take, men's pain seriously. And these are children. So imagine what's that doing to them. It's like boys are supposed to be, men. As soon as they have the biology for it, they're instantly men. But women actually mature sexually faster than before men, and they're not expected to turn women as soon as they start maturing, physically. So it's a very sad thing for this to happen, and for her to not just get by, but also, and the women only feel it when it's their own sons in danger. When it's the women, yeah, people hush it up and so on, but people will at least give her the sympathy. This woman is even afraid to speak about it, because she knows that, yeah, people are not going to give sympathy to the boys. They'll just say, oh, well, he had his introduction early. So you don't know what kind of life he's going to have now that he's messed up in the head. And not only, some men can get away with it because, especially when they're violated by another man, maybe, or it doesn't result in an obvious, child or disease or whatever, they might get to be quiet about it. And even men don't speak enough about it with other men. I don't know. But sometimes even when they do, other men make fun of them. They ridicule them. The same thing with the women. Women, we look at them as something happened to you, but now you're something different. So I think that, and it doesn't matter, that this happened. These women have been taking advantage of a lot of young boys, not just in the school system, but in the juvenile system as well. It's not just, Latino, white, whatever. They're taking advantage of a lot of black boys out there, and not even black boys. What's his name? I don't know if it was Pimpsy or Banby who was saying that, oh yeah, I lost my virginity at 9 years old. How do you lose your virginity at 9 years old? You are violated at 9 years old. And people don't even talk about it in that way. Lil Wayne a lot of them talk about sleeping with older women, a lot of these rappers, and people just think like, oh yeah, you got it early in life, you're the G. But no, somebody, usually an older female cousin, took advantage of them. And then instead of somebody looking at them as, this should not have happened to you, they congratulate them and tell them as if this was some kind of achievement. No. So, while we're teaching children, all this, they're being taught all this, nonsense in the schools, nobody's teaching them the harsh reality of what, life really is. And they're out there, they're afraid to speak about it. And then it's so normalized out there that they're either afraid of to go back and speak to their parents. Because there was even another case that happened recently. This time to a black child, a black boy, a 6-year-old boy, who apparently was being violated every day on the school bus. And his mother didn't know about it until, I don't know if it was months or weeks later. And this happened. So, you know, you have to have a conversation with children about, you know, these things. And unfortunately, you know, the earlier, the better, because you don't know how early these people are preying on the children. And even you know, that show with To Catch a Predator, they didn't really, yeah, we know that most predators are men, but they didn't really go after the female predators as such that I know of. And then you also look at the jail system, you know, the men who do that sort of thing to children are usually, you know, dealt with. But women don't really have a way to deal with their female predators. We as women should also come together and say that, you know, these women should also be shamed, chastised, you know, protested against something, because these women cannot be walking around doing this to children and thinking that it's okay, especially when they're in positions of authority. If you're a mother and trust your child, you know, your son, to this you know, monster, and then your child comes home, you don't understand what is going on, you know, you'd want to, you know, do something to her. But, you know, I let it go at that.
Yeah, a 13-year-old kid just emailed me asking me for your email address. So post that in the chat for us, all right? With all of that said, our boy Zuli came back. Zuli, how is this a patriarchal world? How is this woman not doing 20 years?
Well, I think my main thing is this is not a patriarchal world. Maybe it's a patriarchal for the people who are ruling the world, but for most of us, it's not, because there's more men committing suicide, more men unemployed. When men get sent into prison, they get more time than any other thing. This situation proves it right there. But I was listening to somebody that said that I don't know if it's true, but maybe the defense, her lawyer said that she was drunk or something like that. So I think they're trying to flip it where they said the boy took advantage of her while she was drunk. So instead of they said they probably was gonna have a hard time to convince the jury to see that they were saying some great, like maybe the boy raped her. So I was watching they said that if she was drunk and if the young man took advantage of her while she was drunk, maybe that's why.
That's why you have to have good lawyers. That's exactly why you have to have good lawyers. A good lawyer might take that might take that that strategy. You know, again, that goes back to what Oni was saying. Continue. Go ahead.
So that's what I'm saying. At the end, that's what I think somebody said that, and then they say if you take that to the jury, they might not get convicted. They might say it's the other way around. But the thing is, we all know that's a lie. And more, if you look, the news is reporting grown women, 31, 34, who are married, who are having sex with young boys, 13, 14, 15. And they're not getting, I just saw something in one of my group chat, a 34 Asian lady who was having sexual intercourse with their 8th grade student. And somebody in there said, oh, the boy, which 8th grade student is 14-year-old boy is going to put a condom on? And all of that that's rape, that's pedophilia, that's molestation. That lady should be 20. If that was a man, a 31-year-old man that had sex with a 13-year-old girl, he would have done at least 15 to 20 years. So at the end of the day, like Terrence said, women are not held accountable when they do BS. And I've seen this numerous in the past 2 weeks. They arrested multiple women who are having sexual relations with 14, 15-year-old boys, 13-year-old boys. Where's the pushback? Where's the women in the community fighting against this thing? Why the women are not protesting this? Because if it was the other way around, everybody would be in the street. Why are the men not protesting this? Why are they letting this mother all by herself say this? This is very outrageous. Nobody in the streets, nobody protesting, nobody even doing this in the third.
Yeah,
That's
you're
the
right. Oh, I thought you were done. That's a
no, I'm
pregnant
done. I'm done.
Yeah, only I agree. I have a son who at 13 was like 6'2". You know, and I used to tell him, you got to be careful how you move in the world, because these little white boy cops who are 5'7", you know, average height dudes, they're looking at him like a man almost. You know what I mean? So yeah, in a court, you have a good lawyer. A good lawyer will say, look at the size of this kid. Yeah, he's 13, but he's 6'2". He forced himself on it. Like, that's the importance of that good lawyer thing that Oni was talking about earlier. Any last words from anyone on this topic?
I just want to say that, you know, even though this is not a black child this is happening to, black boys, black children, the black boys deal with a lot of sexual abuse, sexual trauma. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the work of Dr. Tommy Curry. He wrote an excellent book called The Man Not, dealing with black men and boys and sexual abuse and things of that nature. So, you know, some people mentioned in the chat some of the artists who, you know, were getting their virginity taken at 9 and 10 and 11. I remember Lil Wayne was talking about his mother wanting him to have a baby so she wouldn't get lonely. And he was 14. So, you know, just the amount of sexual abuse that black children experience. And black boys, you know, because we always talk about the girls, but black boys are very many times victims, and many times it's by women. So I think, you know, I know that many places the legal definition of rape is penetration with a penis and whatnot, but I think we really have to re-examine that, because there's many vulnerable children being taken advantage of out here. This young man, you know, I'm glad that his brother's involved. I hope they take this case to appeal, and you know, make her serve some real time. You know, that's just my thoughts on that. I'll leave it alone.
Only in the chat was wondering why my son's so tall. It runs in the family, man. Right? Any other last words from anyone on the?
Yeah, your son is a big drink of water, man. He's a tall guy, 6'2". Wow.
Yeah, it runs in the family. On my side, he gets it. I could say he gets it from me, but on his mom's side, his grandmother on his mom's side, she has some brothers who are like 6'7", 6'8". So it runs. Anyone else want to add a last word here? All right, let's go. Should be topic number 5. We're going to end at 2 a.m. as we always do.